Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Code and Coffee Show. Like every time, we will discuss about the two most important things in life of most developers. So we will talk and show some amazing code, and of course, we will talk about coffee because this is something that helps us produce this amazing code. With me, I have a amazing astro expert, or let's even call it an astronaut, right? Uh, Elian Van Cutsem. I think I
Yeah.
did it quite well. Yes, I'm really proud of it. In most cases, everyone else has this problem. This time it was mine. And Elian is a software engineer at VBridge. He strongly focuses on design, front-end development, and cloud-native web applications, emphasizing personalization and technical innovation. He started out building static websites to showcase the photos he took, then discovered Jamstack development, and since then, he's always learning and trying out new stuff. And if I
Exactly.
remember, you also have become an official part of the Astro group.
Yeah. Yeah. Since last week, I'm an official Astro. Well, I was already an Astro ambassador, but now I'm also a maintainer. Yep.
And what are you doing there mostly?
I'm mainly at this moment working on documentation, reviewing PRs for the migration guides, connecting CMS guides, integration guides, and deployment guides. So those, well, we call them recipes as well. So
Mhm.
I'm mainly reviewing PRs, actually, not writing that many original content at this time.
Okay, so and this is why Elian is such a perfect person for today because we are going to dive a bit into Astro. Today we will start more with the basics, but I won't lie, I'm also a huge fan of Astro, so this is probably episode one of many about Astro. So,
I hope
but
so.
oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's like I'm already preparing the separate playlist for it. Yes. But before we will dive into Astro, let's talk a bit about coffee. So, are you a coffee drinker or maybe a tea
Of
drinker?
course. Well, both actually. In the morning, of course, coffee to get that initial kick. And then by the evening, I might drink some tea because I still have to sleep.
Okay, and what is your favorite method, maybe your favorite country, or
Well, my favorite country is Colombia, or even Congo as well. They have very good dark roasts as well.
Mhm.
My favorite method, well, I actually am a pour over person, so I really love the Chemex and the V60. But of course, exactly there we go. But I also love like the Italian style. How is it called? Like the espresso in the cup thing,
You mean the mocha pot?
the mocha pot. Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that as well to get a shot of espresso and then make Americano of it, or a latte even. But I also might sometimes do a French press.
So almost every method. And what is your take? Because it's getting a bit warmer outside. So what is your take on cold brews and nitros?
I never do them actually. I don't really enjoy them that much because mostly they tend to be very sweet, and I actually more love the bitter tastes of coffee. So that's why I
Okay.
think I go with full black, just pour over coffee most of the time.
Okay. So you're going with the dark roast even for a pour over?
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. I mean,
Yeah. I think so.
I mean,
I like it.
I mean, I'm more of a fan of light roast to get all those fruits and everything, all those weird tastes. But yeah, I mean, I totally understand
Well, it's cool to
why
see how
some.
many tastes there are. Still
Oh
the
yes,
same bean. It's insane.
yeah, exactly. Because sometimes they are even not. It's nothing apart from just a great collection of beans that were
Exactly.
just collected from some amazing part of the world. Like right now I'm having this it's blend from Johann ten Lindstrom of it's called the Easter brew. They just I'm not sure if they just had three types of beans and they just wanted to get rid of them, but in general it tastes really amazing. You can
Cool.
feel a lot of plums in the end of the
Ooh.
aftertaste.
So
So
very
it,
fruity.
exact.
Cool.
So it's really nice. Yeah, and I really hope that at some point we will have just a chance to also go and grab a beer to
Well,
when
a
I.
beer is fine as well. I'm from
Oh,
Belgium,
that's true.
so I won't say no to
Oh,
beer.
I know Belgian beers are the best.
Of
I'm
course.
always. I mean, Belgian beers and is something that always fascinated me. Belgium is such a small country,
Yeah.
and when it comes to the number of types, the way uh, how how they experimented with everything,
Oh yeah.
it's really amazing. It's really amazing. I even remember that there was a whole comic book about one beer maker's dynasty that I read
Oh
many
really?
years ago. Yeah, so
Cool.
it's really great to have such a fan of well, beer and coffee. So
True.
and before we will jump into Astro basics, paying for the stream won't pay for itself. That's why I am lucky enough to have a very nice sponsor, which is Kinsta, and the next 20 seconds are on them. See you soon.
Kinsta's application hosting simplifies the work of modern web developers. With just a few steps to get your app up and running with performance backed by the fastest Google C2 machines, Kinsta has built a development platform designed to get your applications in front of users as quick as possible. Test Kinsta's application hosting for yourself at kinsta.com. The first $20 are on us.
And of course, you can also run Astro on Kinsta. It's very simple. There's even a guide on the official
Well, it's not merged
Astro.
yet.
There is still a static site generated content. Because
Oh yeah, that's true. We are working. We, as in us together, we are working on the SSR guide, so that will be able to read
There
soon.
will be everything for Kinsta and the official documentation. It's really amazing. So, talking about Astro, why should someone give Astro a try? What are your favorite things about it?
Well, it's difficult because it's so many things. For instance, I love the developer experience it gives. It's so great. You can really learn Astro just by just opening up a new project and just clicking around and just trying some things out. It feels very like an extension of HTML, which I love. So you will see that later when we actually dive into the project itself. It will resemble a lot like just HTML and a little bit of JSX in between. So it's HTML and superpowers. And then also you have like the basics of, for instance, file-based routing, which I really love. It's so easy. It's so easily accessible, implementable. It's really easy. And of course, the component design. And then you even get like the whole thing of the island architecture, which makes it crazy good for SEO purposes, performance purposes, and such things. So I think all of those make like a great combination of building websites.
Oh yes, I totally agree because I can tell that for me as a person that comes from mostly PHP world, for a long time I had a lot of problems into diving into this whole Jamstack thing. I tried Gatsby next, and I felt that it wasn't it. I felt that I was kind of battling the tool rather than just using it. And
Yeah.
then came some alpha release of Astro, so I can tell that I knew Astro before it was cool, right?
Same.
And yeah, and I remember that I just saw especially the components, because I always remember that there was in Next and in Gatsby some additional code, and in Astro it was like just as you mentioned, it's like a nice extension to HTML, and I was
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
okay, and that's it. That's it. It's working.
It's
Whoa,
just
it's
working.
amazing.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I started going further, especially when I went with, as as you mentioned, the routing, which was really nice.
Yeah.
Building my first static site, and it also enabled me to understand more and more of Next, of Gatsby, and all the rest, because it kind of required some mind shift, and really,
Yeah, of course.
Astro
Yeah.
is amazing for it.
Well, and it's actually funny that you mentioned that you came from a PHP background, because I'm as well. So I came actually from PHP as well, Symfony in the time, and then Laravel as well. So it also, I started to use Nuxt at the time, and it didn't make like that much sense to me why I was shipping so much JavaScript, even though the
Mhm.
components didn't even require it. So it was weird, and that's actually when I stumbled upon Astro. So yeah.
Yeah, and exactly the performance part, because I always take a look at how much website weights, does it have some
Hmm.
unused stuff. And for me, it was a huge problem with both Next and Gatsby. And when every time with new release, when they tried to explain how they are fighting this with adding some more and more technologies, instead of like
Yeah.
going the Astro way, which is, let's don't have single page applications for everything. Let's have just a multi-page
Exactly,
application.
and that's a good thing that you mentioned there. Not for everything. There might still be
Of
cases that you
course,
you might need an SPA or something else,
of
but like
course.
not for everything. Exactly,
Let's be honest. For a blog, having an SPA is. I mean, yes,
doesn't
you
make sense.
can, you can, but
Of course,
mm,
you can. It doesn't make sense, but you can.
exactly. So right now, I will try to reset my brain as hard as I can. So I will try to forget as much things as I know about Astro.
Okay.
We will open the Visual Code Studio, the documentation on the site, and having an expert uh, right now in Belgium.
Okay.
And all together, we will try to create something. It
Sounds
I
good.
can tell you right now, it won't be pretty. I don't have a clue about CSS. I mean, I know how it's working, but I always ask my wife to do it for me. So, well, but
Well,
let me
it's no
begin.
problem at all because in we're still trying to show off the base of Astro. We're trying to show what Astro is capable of. It doesn't matter how it looks.
Exactly, exactly. So right now we already have here our nice project. As you can see, it's already running. This is the nice starting page. And let's take a look first at the structure, because
Yeah.
this is the thing that will interest us. So probably let's start with the config file, right? Let me just open it for. Right now, we don't have too much, but if we would start adding some add-ons, the
Hmm.
config will grow. Uh,
Yeah.
Probably not much to tell about this right now. So let's start with the src folder. What do
Yeah.
we have here? Could you guide us?
Of course. So maybe let's start out with the pages because that's the most interesting one to start with. We have the index.astro file, and Astro is based, as I mentioned before, on a file-based routing system. So if you would add, like for instance, an about.astro component, component Astro file, it will
So
actually create a new route as well. So then you'll be
let's
able
create
to,
one
yeah,
indeed.
sure.
And let's do it. It will be just about.
Hmm.
Right, and this means that let me
Well, I don't know if that actually would work since it's not HTML, but let's try it.
I think it should. Of course
Yeah,
it
okay, exactly. So that works very easy. Just like I mentioned before, the developer experience here is awesome. It's great, and of course you also are able to use folders inside of it. So you can, for instance, make a folder that's called about and make an index.astro inside of it, or just make whatever you like. Maybe a contact. Yeah, I was
Let's
thinking
make
the
a
same. Cool.
contact exactly, and let's create a new file called index astro.
Yeah. So
And
even though your
let's
file will be located or will be called index.astro, but being inside of the contact folder, it will just add as a contact route. So that's
it
cool.
works.
Of
It
course, it
works.
works. So that's really cool. We also have like dynamic pages. Maybe that's a little bit more advanced. We'll probably get into that later,
Mhm.
but that's possible. We also have special pages. For instance, if you create in your pages root a 404.astro, that's a catch-all for all your 404 routes.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's about it for the pages. Now, exactly, you're here in the index.astro. You can see that we're calling a layout. We're importing that from the layout folder. So we'll probably get into the layout itself. Well, I mean
So,
into what layouts are and how they work, yeah, or in the imports. But layout can be defined in the layouts folder and can be used as a layout for all of your pages. So for instance, you might share a header, you might share a footer, those go inside of your layout. But those header or footers can be components as well. And that's where the components folder comes in. There you can store all of your little components, which I tend to use as building blocks. For instance, the header is a block, the footer is a block. Those might have individual blocks as well. Think of it like Lego. It's all building blocks.
exactly. Yeah. And here in the layout, we can see this interesting thing called a slot.
Yeah. What a slot basically means is that when you're importing and using the layout, that everything which you put inside of those custom tags, for instance, if you go back to index.astro, you'll see that we import the layout, then we call the layout as an JSX element, and everything that's between that will be rendered inside of the slot component.
Exactly. And this is exactly what we have here.
Yeah. So here we can see if you would look inside of your index your index route exactly. If you would open up the DevTools, everything will be inside of that body.
I'm old school. I'm constantly view source, but we can see this this main part, and
exactly.
here
so
we
there
have
it
this
is.
main part too. Exactly.
And of course, your layouts, components, and everything can take props as well. So you can see layout title, welcome to Astro.
Exactly. And here we have here, and but this is something we will dive, because we can also set the default values, if I remember.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah. And the last thing that we see here is the component.
Yeah. So
we
if you scroll a little bit down, exactly.
Yes, we have the card component. And it has like 3 props: graph, title, and body. So let's go and see.
And maybe something interesting to notice as well is that you can see when you're hovering on the card component inside of index.astro that you actually get the properties as well. So if you scroll, well, not scroll, but if you hover over the href, for instance, it will automatically know that it's a string because
true.
you define it inside of your card.astro props. So you have very good developer experience.
True. Yeah, that's true. And this is, we see those 3 values that are just passed here, and that's it. And we also see some CSS here. And is the CSS local, global?
Well, you can define it global, but by default, so this style will actually be scoped to that component only. But you can use a flag called is global, and then it will be global.
I think I saw it here.
Yeah, exactly.
We can see it here. Exactly. So, and this means that if we aren't using a component, the CSS of it also won't be loaded, which makes great things in terms of performance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we know how it looks like. So I think it's time to maybe let's create first a component or a new page. What do you think?
Well, a new component would make sense because we can reuse that component, for instance, in our layout on all of our pages.
Okay. So we are going to first create a new component, and there we're going to add it to, let's say, layout. Okay. So, what do you think? What we should create? Any idea?
Maybe a header or something, or our navigation, for instance.
Okay, so let's do a navigation.astro. Okay, and probably this navigation will be just a list of links in an unordered list.
Yeah, sure.
So let's start with the basic HTML. And we are going to have a link to home. Oh, I forgot about the...
Yeah, and exactly this is what's so great about Astro as well. You're using just a regular A element. You're not using some kind of link that you import from a package.
Exactly.
No, it's just the A element, because Astro is a multi-page application, which will mean that you lose state in between pages, but there is a solution for that. But by default, everything is multi-page. So if you click on it, it will just work with a regular A element.
I remember we already have those amazing pages,
Yep,
right? So we
exactly.
can. Okay, so we have our component, and that's
Awesome.
it. So let's add it to our layout because we want to show it every time.
Hmm.
It won't look pretty, but so first we have to import it.
Yeah, you can choose to import it first, or you can just choose to put the JSX element there. That probably will work as well because we, as you can see, we have
Okay.
great dev tools. So it will probably work if you just start typing navigation.
Okay, so let's of course in the it was like this
There it
probably.
is.
Oh,
So if you click on it,
okay.
it now will have been imported automatically.
Oh my, amazing. So let's see. And we have our beautiful navigation right here, and it's even working. Of
Awesome.
course, the contact and the about don't look as they should because they don't have layouts. But this is something we can
Well,
uh,
we can
fix
start
in.
out by using the layout inside of those pages as well.
Okay, okay, so let's go. Let's focus on the about page.
Hmm.
And here we have to, in that case, add, it was called layout,
It's
of
called
course.
layout.astro.
Exactly. So we have this
And
one,
have you seen
and
what happened? Maybe because it went very fast, no problem at all. But now, right now you're on line 6, which used to be line 1,
exactly,
because there is a front
exactly.
matter added. And Astro uses that front matter to, well, we can write just regular JavaScript or TypeScript there, depending on what you chose when you started your project. But actually, everything that's there by default will be rendered on the server at build time, even.
And we can already see that it's
Awesome.
our page is getting nicer and nicer. But we also remember that the layout had a possibility to change
The
its
title.
title. So let's call it also the about with the capital. And
Yeah.
we can see right here that it's working.
Yeah, and you can also see that it refreshes very fast because we have hot module reloading because Astro is built upon Vite.
Oh
So you
yes,
have
that's
all
true.
those advantages. Yeah. Vite
And
4
let's
actually.
add and let's add it here just to make everything nice. Okay, perfect. And let's see if it's working
That won't work.
because I
And that's actually very, very good that you're
yes,
having this issue because you can now see how good our error paging is. We have default error pages for almost everything, or we try to at least. And you can see that we actually hint you by this is often caused by a typo in
yes.
the import path. Is this correct?
And
So we hint you.
let's even see. Yes, and we even have this nice information on the documentation. Exactly. So, and that
Mhm.
is true because our contact page is one folder higher, so we can just add it like this.
Yep.
It's working. Perfect. So, okay, we have our component, but I think that it would be nice if we can maybe add some props to our navigation.
Sure.
What do you think? So first things first, we have to add this front matter thing
Yeah.
because this is where all the magic will happen. And we will. What can we have in our navigation?
Well, you could,
Probably.
for instance, use the active page. Um, and then you
mm,
can, for instance, highlight that one so that you have a visual indication on which page you are.
Okay, I can do this. Okay, so let's call it active,
Hmm.
and we have to assign it to Astro props if I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, and by default, maybe let's set it value to false as a default one to make
Sure.
sure that we don't. Wait a second. Will we need true or false, or will we need a name?
We would need a name.
We'll need a
Well,
name.
in
Exactly.
how it's written right now, we have to use a name.
Exactly. So okay, and so we would like to um, probably add a class when.
Yep.
So let's do it like we're just using. I see that there is this utility class class list. Should we use it or should we use this?
Well, it
Okay.
depends. So what the difference is that this one will take a JS object actually. So here you can just open the brackets, the parentheses, and choose a list. So a list of strings, whereas the class would just take normal HTML class types. Just
in our case, it doesn't matter that much, right? So we can. And in this class, we have to, what we want to check. If
you just have to use the normal HTML class type in this case.
So you mean that...
yeah, so you have to do equals, so class equals, and then your string. So that's why you don't styling,
yes,
right?
yes, this one is exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So...
you can get rid of the quotes because then you'll be writing JavaScript.
Exactly. Exactly. So we just need to check is active equals, in this case, home. That is it. And if it does, so it will be with right.
And then you would add your result, which is some active class, for instance. Yeah.
Okay, so let's.
You still have to write your your false.
Oh
case,
yeah, of course, yes.
Which can just be null or an empty string, whatever you like.
Yes, exactly. So let's now copy this one, and let's. So here it will be about, and here it will be. It was contact, right? Of course, perfect. So now let's go to the layout.
You're gone for a moment there. Let's wait for Maciek to come back. Oh, he left. Probably has some disconnection issues. Yeah, is he back? Not entirely. Yeah, there he is.
No, it's here. Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yes, this will be. I will have to cut it a bit. In the layout, we will have to add one more props because we will have to now pass it from the layout to the navigation. So let's call it also active. And here it will be active equals active, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, because we will pass it.
So you can see it resembles like a lot of JSX.
Exactly. So let's check with this one. And here it will be active equals out. And let's see if it's working. Right now, let's just check in the... We got it. So now let's pass it to all the rest, and then we should style it a bit to make sure. Okay, so I will do some styling. It will be where we have the navigation.
The navigation component itself.
Oh no, it should be. Yes, it's here. So it's active. Now it's home.
Yeah. You're doing it right. Yeah. It will, by the way, it will look like an error, but this is actually
no. On the index, we just have the layout. Yeah, so it should be okay. I think we are passing this. Yeah.
The reason that it's not okay, that it makes you look not okay, is because you didn't export it on the props type, which we have inside of the layout itself. So if you go back to the layout, you'll see that there is an interface.
So we will fix it in the moment.
Yeah. This won't error because you haven't used, well, you
Oh,
chose not to use TypeScript, so it will by
so
default do
it's
display.
active. Okay, so let's do,
Yep.
and this time it should be okay. Exactly, that's true. And I think we have the about and we have the contact here.
Awesome.
Okay, and let's go back into the navigation to add some styling.
Yep.
So let's just do style, and we are going to add active, and let's say color red. I will. This is,
Ooh,
and it's
that works.
working amazingly. Okay,
Yes.
so we have all the basics, all the components, pages ready. But we mentioned along the way that we can also set a default value for prompts. I think that the layout component will be one of the best. So we can set a default title to make sure that there is always some title, so we don't have to worry about. I mean, we always should feel it, but yeah, sometimes we can forget it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I think it would make more sense to
Mhm.
have it to have it on the title, of course, but to make the title itself optional. Because right now it's required. So in your interface, you do title, there you should put a question mark to make it optional, which is
Uh,
regular TypeScript
like
syntax. Yeah,
like
that,
this,
but
or
like in the interface.
oh, so here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now
Okay, so
if you
thanks to
would
this,
delete
it will
it,
be
so if you
okay.
would delete it in a
So
page,
let's
it won't
for a
error.
moment. Let delete it here,
Hmm.
and let me go to the
Yeah.
index. Let's see what's happening. Yes, we have an error.
Hmm.
Exactly. To the layout. Let's add it like this. And the error is gone. Exactly.
Woohoo.
So let's add something to the title as the default. Mm, let's call it Welcome to Astro because this is like the default one. And we can see that we have it here. And if we will change the page, it gets the one that was added to the page. So this is how
Yeah.
we can set the default value. It was simple.
So I was doing this stream a couple of days ago with Mark Bacchus, who is like a big guy in the Vue community. And he had some problems with his content collections. He didn't get them working correctly, so he said, "Hey, it's very complicated. Can we do a stream to solve the issues?" And then I told him the famous words: "If it's difficult in Astro or it looks complex, you're probably doing it wrong." And I think that's most of the times correct. How do you feel about that?
I feel exactly the same what you are saying. I also had the exactly same feeling when I was using, for example, tweak templates in
Oh yeah.
PHP.
Hmm.
That every time when I felt that something is hard, something is really unnatural, because this is the perfect word for it, unnatural. This means
Unnatural.
that
True.
I am doing something wrong. And the moment when I discovered what was my mistake, it was like, oh, it was that simple.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
exactly the same things happens here, because every time when something doesn't work, it probably means that either okay, because yeah, every developer's had some different idea about something, and but
Well,
if something
exactly.
is going wrong, it's mostly probably that we are trying to do it in a different way than we
Exactly.
well should.
As
But in
developers, we
general,
are,
it
of
should be easy.
course, yeah, as developers, we are, of course, troubleshooting minds. We want to solve our problems our own ways, but there might be better solutions already out there. So, yeah.
Exactly. That's That's true. And I think this was also one of the things that that made me love Astro so much. That it's so straightforward.
Yeah,
So easy.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yes. So, but you kind of mentioned content collections.
Yeah.
And I think that this should be our
Okay.
next step.
Yeah, that's a
So-
very good one. Well, before we dive in, maybe take a look at the docs. And I'm mentioning this because of a very good reason. We have a full blog tutorial on. Okay, yeah, you can go to content collections, no problem about it. We have a full blog guide on how to, well, a full docs guide on how to build a blog and then using content collections. So content
Okay,
collections
so-
are basically this way of working with markdown files in a very good way, in a very easy and developer-friendly way.
Okay, so what we can see that we will just have to put our content into the content folder, and then we have to name our collection in some way. We can have a lot of them, but we will start with just one. We will have to define a collection. Looks easy. TypeScript. Yeah,
You don't have to do that.
Okay.
Well, you
And
won't have
we
to
can-
because you didn't choose to use TypeScript.
True. And here we have we can just define what the fields we will need. So yeah, let's go for it. So first of all, we have to open our structure. Let's close those for a moment, and we're gonna create a new folder called content.
Exactly.
And everyone is talking about starting my own blog, so I will create a blog. And inside of it, I will create a new markdown file called hello world. Because,
Yeah, that will work.
world MD. Okay. So probably I should add some content here.
Yeah.
Okay, in front matter. So let's add title. Yes. What else can we add apart from the content?
A date might be good.
Okay, so date. Now let's today we have okay. I think it will work, right? We'll see.
We'll see, exactly.
We'll see. Yeah, JavaScript and dates aren't
Always
best connection. And maybe let's add a single tag.
Just one tag. You can put in a list as
Am I
well,
right?
but you can choose whatever you like.
So let's say it will be about Astro.
I think it won't work like that. I think you have to use
Oh,
the
in
YAML
the
syntax.
So it's the separate lines, right?
It's on separate lines and with like a dash before.
Okay. So let's. I will. So
Yeah, like that.
this and like this.
That should work.
Perfect. And this is my first blog entry.
Yep.
Perfect. I did it. And now let me create a new file. Let's call it, because like most blogs, I will start and the end with maybe not goodbye post. Yeah, because it was, and here, let's add just a title right now, because I remember that collections have one amazing feature about checking that we've add something or we forget. So let's call it goodbye. Let's add also, it was tags, I think. It's okay, and last post. Okay, perfect. So we have the content.
Yeah.
Now it's organized. Perfect. So now we have to go to we have to create the config.ts file.
Yep. Totally cool.
So something.ts. Perfect. And of course, as professionals, we are going to Control C and Control. And of course, let's remove the comments because our code is so self-explanatory.
Exactly.
Right. And it's also a block collection, which is perfect. It's block connection. We have this variable. It's perfect. The only thing that we need to define is to define a schema. This is the last thing. So let's for now let's just copy what we have here, and then we will make it work. Okay, so we have a title. Oh, I forgot about
Exactly.
something.
You don't have a typo. You have just a missing import.
Yes, it's just a Z.
Yeah.
Missing. Perfect.
Because it's Zod. I don't know if you're
Exactly.
familiar with
And
it. That's
it's yeah. Okay, so we have now it should work, I think.
yeah, it will work. It's just because you probably have to do something like Astro sync or Astro check. What is it again? The command. Well, it will run automatically on the
Okay.
next build or something.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter.
We remember that we had a title, which is a string. It's perfect.
True.
We have tags, which is an array of strings. Perfect. And we also have a date, which types do we have? And probably there is something. Oh, let's see. It's a number, a string, an array, a date. So let's see.
But will that work?
Yes.
Because what does the date look like? You'll see later on, but this is
the
fine.
date here is like this. So, but it's great. Let's do it.
Well, you can see I've actually included like the line below it. You can see that you have publish date, which is z.string.transform the string to new date. Right below what you selected. You can see.
Yeah. We have the publish date, and we have this date string that it should be like. Well, and we can transform it.
Exactly.
Okay, so
you can even go further than that. You can even say, I expect a string or a date. And in case it's a string, then transform it. So that's how Zod collections, Zod schema validation works. It's really great and really works.
Okay. But in our case, let's leave it like this, and we'll see what will happen. Will it
exactly?
And right now we have maybe let's stop because right now we have the unsupported file types found prefix with an underscore to ignore.
I think it will just work. Yeah, I think it's just because you didn't choose JavaScript at this. You didn't choose TypeScript.
Yeah, probably so. But I think this is not something. So now we should just have a page on which we will list all those.
Yeah.
So let's call this page log ts, not ts Astro.
Yeah, Astro, exactly.
And let me just copy what we have here. It will be a bit simpler. It will be a blog.
Yep, and you will have to add it to the navigation components as well.
I will, but this is in a moment. And right here we will have to, first of all, we will have to get the collection. So let's import here again. This one we don't need by slug right now. We just need to get the whole collection. And
by the way, do you see that top level await there? Really cool feature. So you can top level await. For instance, if you need to fetch an API endpoint, that will work as well.
Of course, yes. So okay, we have this, and the last thing that we have to do is just to let's see. It will be unlisted. It won't look nice, but well, all blog posts. App post. Right.
Yeah, you closed parentheses a little bit too early. In the post, there is one too many.
Wait a second.
The second one.
Blog post is here. We have the map with the
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that-
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see, I see, I see, I see. This one. This should
Yes,
be
exactly.
here. And now we have, and now it's good.
Well,
We
you
can
still have to
go.
close it there,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like after
In
your
the,
return type.
so yeah, we should have one more here,
Yes.
right? Yes, perfect. But it's empty, so that's probably the problem. Exactly. So we are going to let's just add in this one, and inside we will have. Okay, but we will need a link. So to what we will have to link it? Is this post slug?
Mhm.
Like this? No. Okay.
Yep, that will work.
And here we will need the post.
Well-
we have title.
The slug, of course, of that post will be just the slug that it's located at.
Oh,
You probably still have
And
to
we
add
need blog.
exactly.
Blog and like this.
Yep,
Perfection.
and probably
Perfect.
a leading slash as well.
In the end, you think?
No, a
I think
leading
it
one
should be.
at the start. Slash.
Oh,
blog,
yeah, that's
slash.
true. Yeah, because in other case we would land into blog. Probably.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have the title.
That won't work.
And
It should be post.data where you're getting the data,
Oh.
and there will be for the slug that will work because the
for
slug
the
is
Slack is okay. Just
Yeah.
here.
the data is everything that's
Perfect.
defined in your front matter of that markdown file.
Okay, so let's check. Let's go to the blog. Okay, something is
I know actually what's wrong
okay.
because
don't.
you're fetching the title here, right? But if you go
Yes.
back to your markdown blog posts, you'll see that you have spelled title with a leading uppercase character.
Okay, so it's case sensitive.
Mhm.
Okay, so in this case, okay, we started it like this. You are right.
Now it works.
Now it works. Perfect. So if we would just go inside, of course it's not working. And this is, I think, the perfect opportunity for us to create a single
So
page. I
the
think
whole
we
thing
will-
that's not
yeah.
working now, because people might expect this works out of the box, is that you don't have a route. You have that post
Exactly.
and you know that it's there, but you don't have a route because it doesn't exist yet. So yeah, let's make it.
Okay, so this is the moment when we are going to use dynamic routing, if I remember.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I think we will also have to kind of change the structure here, because it will be nicer to create a folder called blog.
Mhm.
There we will put the index file and the dynamic.
It's true. That would be nicer, but actually I think it will work as well if you have a blog.astro and then a folder called blog with just a dynamic route in it. That will work, I think,
Okay.
as well. I'm not
So
quite sure,
let's
but
see.
I think it will.
It's a great opportunity. So slug
Mhm.
dot astro.
Yep.
Perfect. And at the moment, it still won't work, but we have something new.
Exactly.
Again,
So
we
it
have
knows that you're probably trying to make a dynamic route, but it tells you, hey, something's missing here.
exactly, and it tells us that we should use the get static path. But I am guessing that if we will venture down here, we will find an answer.
Of course.
But exactly, because so it's quite similar, but let's start with just this one, and we will just explain it step by step, because it's let's remove, like I said, our code is so self-explanatory, how someone cannot understand it. So we will so again, we are getting the whole collection, which is from our blog,
Mhm.
and we are doing this in the get static paths. And I can tell you that the thing that I remember when I was starting my adventure with Jamstack and everything. At first, I really could not understand the concept, and really, thanks to Astro, for some reason, it became so obvious. And yes, thanks to get static paths, we are just passing which files Astro has to create during the build time. And in our case, this is the name of the variable that we are having, slug, and that will be entry slug, and props, this will be all the values that we will be using later. And the thing that we have is, okay, so this entry.render is just the rest of the file, I mean, not the front matter part, but the below one.
Exactly. That will put the markdown to HTML.
Okay, so let's, we will have to import it.
The reason why you have to define the get static paths function is so actually the Astro compiler knows at build time which routes it should create for that dynamic route, because it can't like automatically know that.
Yes, I mean, maybe soon with AI, right?
Maybe, maybe.
Okay, so, and this is the first cool thing that we can use the title as a dynamic value.
True.
Because it will be, so it will be entry dot data dot title.
Yep.
And in here, and we know that every page should have H1. So here we will have this entry dot date dot title. Perfect. And below we will have the content.
That can just be a JSX tag because you import it from entry.render. So it's a JSX element.
Okay. So yeah, it's all right? Yeah.
No, it should be like a tag, a custom tag.
Oh, so I get it. So
yeah,
like this.
Exactly.
And it works.
There you go.
Because we have this one and we have this one.
Yep.
So yeah, really working with those collections is really easy. It's much easier than it was at the beginning with,
of course,
dealing with Markdown's file.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that this will happen quite soon in the Code and Coffee Show. It's really nice to connect it with, for example, with the front matter CMS. I don't know, did you play around with it?
Not yet, but I have reviewed that PR. So I'm still working with Elio, because Elio is actually the author of the front matter CMS.
Yes.
And he's also Belgian.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Really? I see that all of these Belgian beers and fries and everything inspires a lot of developers. Really.
Of course it does.
But I can tell you that connecting, because front matter CMS is just a simple add-on to Visual Code Studio that transform it into a CMS. So connecting it with collections is something so natural. But like I said, I hope that we will have it soon.
Yeah, it will probably be merged this week. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we have the collections. We went through the basics.
Mm-hmm.
We even added some styling. I mean, it was one line, but still, we have some styling. I did it.
Yeah.
I think that now it's time to play around with images.
Of course, yeah.
Because I'm kind of missing here a nice image, so I think we should add it. Okay, so how should we start? Of course, going back to the documentation.
Actually, images right now are kind of difficult in the Astro space. Well, not really, because we're actually transitioning from a separate package to a package that's inside of Astro's core.
Mm-hmm.
So we could go for the experimental assets, but because it's still experimental, I would suggest we just go with the regular image component, which you'll probably find lots of guides on.
Okay, so let's image S.
Yeah.
This is this one.
So you can see
assets. It's experimental. Yeah. And if I remember, there was an image integration that we will need. So let's go here. And yes, right now we will install the half of the internet just by running this one small. Let's terminate the server for a moment.
Yeah, you can also see like how easy it is to add packages upon Astro. You can just do npx astro add and then your package, and it will find everything for you. It will update your config files for you, and even your TS config if you have one.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this will be even. Oh, now it asks, do I want to add something to my config file? Of course I want.
Exactly.
And that's it. And now let's take a look at our Astro config file, and we can see there is this integration added with image. All the imports are added. Amazing. So we have it. We have it. So first of all, we will need an image in our front matter file.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some files we didn't use, but I started writing with the capital, so let me keep up with it. And can I just use any image from the outside URL, or do I
Of
have
course.
to use? Oh, I
No,
can.
you can
Okay,
just
so
you can just use one. Yep.
let's go to Unsplash and let's find the first. Oh no, it's plus. So sorry, I don't. Okay, perfect. Let's copy image URL. Probably let's make it sure. Let's wrap it. Oh, I think I have to wrap it in those, right?
I don't think that matters, but it will work.
I mean, to make sure about those,
Yeah, sure.
there are some. Okay. And right now, let's also add, I called it the image, and let's find some other picture. Let's say this one, and again, copy image URL. Click, perfect. Okay, so we have those. Let's go back into our slug.
Yep.
And don't we have to change something in the collection first here?
Well, yeah, you would have, but you're not using TypeScript, so it will skip the validation itself.
Okay, so right now we don't have to worry about this, but okay, so we have the LED, we have the H1, and let's add an image. So let's go back to our nice documentation. So what we have to do is
That you can all skip. Yeah, it's that one.
Yes, we have to import. We will just need. We'll use only the picture one. Sorry, wrong key. I will cut it. So we will just use the picture one. I always prefer using the picture. It always gives much more possibilities. And the thing that we will require here, let's go here. We will need
the source.
The source, the alt, the sizes. Okay, so let's go with picture, and we'll need the source. It will be we called it, so it will be entry data image. Perfect. Now we will need let's. Of course, the alt should be.
It should be dynamic, but
it should be dynamic, but
case,
we don't have some description.
Exactly.
Let's write it a bit differently, just to see. I think it will be a bit better readability. Now we have the sizes, and this means that what we have to sizes are no, we have to with it. We can just add this, and we can add the aspect ratio. So let's go with this one. So sorry, let's use like this, and let's use the same sizes as there are here because
yeah, you have to add width like the multiple.
Oh version. Yeah, there are many of them. That's
yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah,
and this is also something that I really enjoy. That always, if we have something wrong, we can see. Okay, and we have this one, and we can close this.
Your cat is
Perfect.
going crazy.
My baby.
Oh, damn. I thought it was a cat.
Okay, so we have this one. Okay, let's see. Not this one. Let's save this and let's see what is happening here. Oh, because we forgot to start the server.
Yeah, you still will have to add the sizes as well. Because both are required, I think.
Sizes. Content entry front matter doesn't.
Oh, so it does validate. So you do
It
have
does
to add.
validate.
Yeah. Okay, so
So
you do
we
have to add
forgot,
image.
and this is the cool part that when we create this schema, if we forgot about something and we mark it as required, which we did with the date, and we did not fill it at some point, it was in the. So let's, and this is really, really great. Let's add it here. So it was date, and let's say it was 2023. 417. Okay, now we have another because
Do you know
title
why?
tag.
Or should I tell you?
It's in the hello world, and this is the date format.
No,
I
it is
remember.
not actually. I think it's because you have an image defined that is
Tags.
not inside of your config.
No, and I'm guessing it should be tags.
Oh, that as well.
That as well. So we have to be so strict about this. Yes, we have to go into the configuration TypeScript and we have to add an image, which will be a string.
A string, yeah.
And okay, so it's all right. We are still hitting some problems.
Because in goodbye post you don't have an image.
I don't have an image there. I thought I added in both.
Oh, you did.
We did. We have
okay, then it's probably like you said, the date.
The date format, exactly. But I thought I changed it in the end.
Oh yeah, you used dots in the one.
Oh no, I remember. I talked about changing it, but in the end I forgot to change it because I saw the tags typo. And what now? Now we
you
have.
wrote them in different formats.
No.
Oh, okay, you did the same one. So you are expecting a date, right? So does it tell you which one it's not having? Goodbye post front matter does not.
Front matter does not. Okay, I get it. I know.
Oh, uppercase, lowercase thing.
Exactly. So in the end, it hit us. But it's really important. I mean, in our case, it was just a small misunderstanding. Okay, it's hello world, but and we have the image. So this is nice and good.
And also one cool thing to note about the image is that right now it's still loading it from the source. Actually, at build time, it will
be converted into So we have the image, and it will be converted into all the sizes that we
and optimized as well.
We propose. Exactly. And there's also this cool thing that we can select different formats. So we can go with WebP all the way, or we can even think about using AVIF if we are quite adventurous.
Adventurous, yeah, that's the right word. Yep.
Okay, so we really got images working. Do you think we should go for something more?
Sure. What's in your mind?
Maybe let's think about this famous island architecture.
Of course. I almost completely forgot about that.
Okay, so how should we start?
Well, so actually what we didn't showcase yet is that Astro by default will not ship any JavaScript at all to your users. That's where something like dynamic islands, well, not dynamic islands, but island architecture comes in, which means that we'll be selecting each individual component and we'll be only shipping JavaScript to that component itself. So it's a really cool feature. And to do that, we have to use a front-end framework. And we can even use multiple front-end frameworks. And for instance, I think you're a Vue guy, right?
To be honest, I'm more of a in the end of the pure JS person.
Okay, very cool. So which one would you like to use?
But we can go with, because I remember that
anything.
while we could use Alpine, but Alpine is only used globally, so it won't work the way we would like. So let's go with a bit of a Vue. So why not?
Sure. Yeah. So we can just select a Vue component. We can build a normal Vue component like you would in any other Vue application. But still, if we get it by default, it will still get compiled down to static HTML at build time. So still there would be no JavaScript being shipped to the user.
Exactly.
By default.
So first step for every time, just go to documentation, because like always, it's really good. And we will need a new pack, a new integration. So again, we have to install something. In our case, it will be just npx astro add view. Of course I want this. And what's funny, while I'm trying to reset my brain when it comes to Astro, when it comes to Vue, I don't have to reset anything, because I really don't know too much about Vue. I mean, I know that it's very popular, it exists, but I really don't know how to write code in it. But that's perfect. I will learn as we go.
Well, Vue
but
also has
Vue
great
much better
documentation.
than
Well,
yes, but
I know some Vue.
That should be enough. Okay, so what now? We probably have to build a component, right?
Exactly.
And let's call it Vue example. But this time it will have the Vue extension. Okay, and now this is the part you really have to guide me step by step, or let's just find
go to the documentation of Vue.
Okay.
That will be the easiest. Let's just build let's just build a basic counter example, for instance. That's the one that always works to showcase what we're trying to do.
Have an example. Okay, we even have this
perfect
problem example.
Yeah, just copy and paste it over and see if it works.
Exactly what we need. So we will have this one. Okay, and now let's go back to our homepage.
You still have to restart the dev server.
Oh, exactly. And in the meantime, let's go back to our index page, and we have to import. Or we don't have to import, because we can do this cool trick that you showed me already. View example. And it should be.
Exactly. It's right there. Hello world.
Oh yeah, it's here. Yeah, I missed it.
No problem.
Okay, but let's say, and we'll probably have to, that we wouldn't like to load Vue like the moment when we load the page, but for example, when we just scroll down to this. Is it possible?
Of course it is possible. That's what we call client directives. Client directives are the directives that will control how our application reacts to JavaScript and interactivity. And we have a couple of options for those. You can see them all in the DevTools. So for instance, if you go in between your Vue example component here, if you just get your cursor in between the example thing. Oh yeah, you can go to, well, this is where I always try to show the actual build. So probably you should now stop the dev server and restart it as a build. And the reason why I'm saying that is because as a dev server, we use Vite, which of course does ship some JavaScript to make everything work.
So let's run npm run build.
It goes very fast.
Oh, we saw that optimizing images.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, because those images were quite big.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it compiled them all down. And then you have to
Yes,
do npm run preview to get a preview server running.
Run.
Check. And now we will restart on the same port.
Yes, let's
So
just
if you hop
refresh
into over your network tab right now and reload the page, you'll see that there is actually no JavaScript being shipped at all.
see some fetching.
Yeah,
but
that's
let's-
probably some
probably some
service workers
add-ons
or add-ons, whatever you have. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we have this one. And if we check the JavaScript, we have just from some Chrome extension. So nothing is loaded from the...
Nothing at all. Yep. And that's crazy because it's still written in Vue.
Yeah,
which is, of course, a JavaScript UI framework.
exactly. And so why the view wasn't loaded? Even if we...
Well, because the Astro compiler doesn't know at this moment that you want interactivity. So we have to specifically tell it you want interactivity. So actually, instead of an opt-out technology, we have an opt-in technology at Astro. So we can go ahead and tell the Astro compiler, inside of our component, we can just add client directives. So a client directive here would be client load, for instance, which would just mean that, exactly, you have all options there, which will just start hydrating, which is shipping JavaScript, to the component as soon as the initial DOM content is loaded. Yeah, and you have
I have to rebuild everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's not a problem.
And you'll see a couple of files then. You probably will have an index, you have your component, and you will have client. Those are the three JavaScripts being shipped, I think.
Okay,
yeah, you can refresh now.
And
yes,
now
exactly.
we see the view example. Now,
Yep.
Now it's loaded.
Exactly. So you have the view example, you have the index, and you have the client. And the client one will actually ship Vue library itself, because if you have different components that all use Vue, then you just want to ship Vue once. You have the Vue example, which of course holds the logic for the Vue example, and then you have the index one, which will react, for instance, to client visible, which is probably the one that you want to show next.
Yes. So first we have to add some more cards to make sure that or let's even copy all of them at once. It will be faster. So let's do it like this and like this. Perfect. And right now we're going to move this one. Add the bottom here. And we're going to add it to visible.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, this looks nice. So now we have to rebuild everything. What it's nice to see that Vite is really handling images nicely, and once it downloaded the
it's
images,
very fast.
now it's very fast. So, and let's run the preview. Okay, let's reload it.
So now you can see it shipped the Vue example, and I think which one did it ship? Also client, probably.
We have the client and the Vue example, which is weird. Oh, and right now
it will ship some other stuff, because it still have to see which ones that you're shipping, right? Yeah.
Yes. So if we now it's nothing, and going down
there
here.
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a huge performance thing that everyone should use, because you really don't have to load lots of JS just for, and especially for things that are placed on the bottom.
Exactly. And especially if it's like heavy components or something, then your performance increase will be huge.
Exactly. I totally agree. I mean, like we mentioned already, the performance part in Astro is something really amazing.
Yeah, and it's not only like the performance part; it's also the SEO part. Because if you're shipping an SPA, you're shipping just an empty page with JavaScript, and the browser can't index that. Whereas you're just shipping HTML here, which is indexable.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's totally true. Uh, yeah, now I'm looking at what we done because we really covered a lot of basics. And yeah, I think that for today, let's kind of wrap it up
Sure.
because, but really, we learned a lot. We started with the basics. We learned what Astro is. Then we went through all the building blocks like layouts,
Hmm.
components, and pages. We showed both routing types, so static and dynamic.
Hmm.
Uh, then we dive into content collections with Markdown, with learning that the things that we use in the front matter part are case sensitive, which I didn't knew before. I don't know how I missed it,
True.
but yeah, this is something that we also learned. Of course, images and the performance part of it,
Hmm.
and in the end, how we could embed a view component inside of Astro, and
Yeah.
how to load in a very performant way. So I really think that we did quite a lot for
Oh, we did
for this first part. I
exactly. We did
really
a lot.
can't wait for what we'll do next time, because for
Yeah.
sure maybe we will think about something with the CMSs and fetching the
Ooh,
remote
maybe
data.
there's a lot of options
This
because there is so much to cover. There is still a lot to do. Yeah.
Oh,
So there will
that's
definitely be a part two.
so yeah, that's for sure. And you you probably won't didn't saw it, but during the recording we had a really quite adventurous part. That's why we want to say hi, Mark. We really love you so much.
Yeah.
And with this accent, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Alien, for being with me. It was really a pleasure learning all those things,
Thanks for
especially the
having me.
case sensitivity. Especially the case sensitivity. This is something that really I really don't know how I missed it for so long. So cheers everyone, and have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.